take my throne, boy, stop that. I'm on my hill, can't top that. You take this L, yeah, rock that. You know, I never needed a cosign, yeah, I'm gon' shine, I rock independent. Representing like I work for the Senate. You double LC, you ain't got no business coming against me. These haters, they acting so friendly. I stay attentive and I'm 10 toes, and I'm handing them all the 10 piece. Get it right, playing with me, what they play with
What it do, Knicks Nation? What it do, Knicks Nation? What it do, Knicks Nation? KOD Nation, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew. This Wednesday, December 7th. I'm here with my guy, Phil Porto. Phil, what are we doing?
Chilling, bro. Feeling good, man. It was crazy. I had a good friend of mine over last night. We were having some whiskey on the rooftop, and I looked at the clock, and I was like, "Oh snap! Like it's late." And I was like, "Tomorrow's gonna be rough." So we quickly got out of there, and then luckily my wife is an angel, and even though the kids, did what they do, and they ran into the room and they put stuffies in my face that you squeeze and they make noise, and that's how they woke me up. She quickly kicked them out so that I could go back to sleep for a little bit. So wifey was an angel. Now I'm feeling good. I got my little Mickey Mouse Saved by the Bell type cup.
Nice.
I'm good, bro. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, I got my H2O ready to go 100% all the way. Shout out to the chat 1 second. Chris the Flash is in the building. Chris the Flash, a.k.a. Julius Randle's favorite fan. Then we got Chris Joseph in the building. Chris Joseph, what it do? Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. And my guy, the king of all the trolls, Delano Still Jr. is in the building. DSJ, what is good, my guy? But yeah, Phil, it's a beautiful Wednesday, right? I know this is a Knicks show, but we got good news this morning. As Aaron Judge is coming back home to the Yankees. So we got some good news. New York City, what it do? Good morning, Jonathan. Salute, 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 Pope Ball as well. Jonathan's like, I can't think about the Knicks after the Judge news. Absolutely, bro. Honestly, absolutely. Honestly, if we didn't have a guest, we was probably just going to hang up a sign on Twitter and say, we'll be back Friday. We be back Friday. But we have a guest who's joining us later on around like 11:15. Tom will be joining us to go over his gallery that just passed. I'm a bit upset because I had the vid during that time that the gallery was open. I couldn't make it, but hopefully he does have another one coming up soon. That way I could be there, and some Knicks fans, if you weren't able to join, you'll be able to join. And of course, my man Jiggaman Porto with the hashtag free Phil, because we need Phil Porto back on Twitter. Elania Musk, what are you doing?
For real, bro. It's been weird. People think that I just kind of like disappeared from like all the spaces, and I'm like, nope, I just can't go anywhere. I'm not allowed to do anything. I'm like in timeout. It's crazy, bro. I was dying this morning, so like I'm getting my coffee ready, and before I was fully awake, I was on Twitter because I'm in read only mode, so I can read. I just can't participate. But someone posted this video, bro. I was dying. So it's a video, it's a montage, and he said, we need to stop John Morant. And it's all the travels and carries of John Morant this season and how he gets away with it. And you see like 4 or 5 steps before he starts dribbling, or he pins the ball up to his leg and then starts to dribble again as soon as the defender passes by. And I was dying because he's given like audio commentary over it. And he shows a picture of him holding his baby, and he goes, yo, I love my boy, but let's be real. I've never carried him that long in my life. And I started dying. And the next one, he was like left, right, turn, and you see John moving without
Look,
putting the
Chris
ball
Chris
down. He
saw
goes,
that. Chris saw that video.
yeah. He was like, yo, we are freaking. He's like John Morant playing Twister on the court, and I was like
Mhm.
dying. I could not stop, bro.
No, I think I
So
saw
good.
one that video that you're talking about. Not that specific video, but one of his videos because he did the same video for Luka Doncic, showing
Uh-huh.
how many times Luka carries it and how many violations Luka has
Yeah.
during a game. And credit to the NBA referees because they're
Yep.
starting to call that travel call. They're starting to call that Palmer call. You saw it, I think it was a week or so ago against it was Luka
The
Doncic
Cavs game.
and no and Steph Curry.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
watch that game towards the end. Steph Curry got called for a travel when it's the game was on the line. So yeah, the
yeah.
referees are stepping up their game when it comes to the calls and stuff like that. And I gotta salute the big man, the big homie himself, Jay Boogie. Good morning. Jay Boogie said, "Good morning, AM to the AM. Blessing, health, and happiness to you all. What another beautiful day to be enjoying. God gave us another chance. What are your choices? Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Indeed, Jay Boogie. Indeed, Jay Boogie. We got Aaron Judge back. So we starting the day on a good note, on a good high, because Aaron Judge is back. But bro, we got to talk about these Knicks, bro. And we got Tom
Yeah.
backstage, so we'll bring him up before the 11:15 mark. We'll bring him up in a couple of minutes. But I just
Yeah.
want to ask you real quick. When it comes to this team, when it comes to these rumors, when it comes to these spaces that just fans are just losing it, what is your thoughts on this Wednesday, December 7th? What's the future for our Knicks, in your opinion?
Yeah. So it's crazy because I feel like when it comes to any trade rumor, the Knicks are the first team that people
Mm-hmm.
assume are in the talks. And that comes from the fact that we really have no clarity or direction of what's happening. So everyone jumps on any possibility, any opportunity of grabbing another player. Yeah, it's been happening forever because we just don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
all these rumors are happening now. It went from Zach Levine. Now people are saying, oh, it looks like the Bulls want to blow it up, but they want to blow it up by letting go of DeRozan and Vooch. And people are
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, the Knicks can go after DeRozan and Vooch, not realizing that we just signed 2 centers to like
Mm-hmm.
deals. So I think there's a lot of chit chat. There's a lot of craziness, but a lot of those pieces don't fit unless we're doing some big changes.
Right.
And big changes doesn't really seem like this organization's direction right now, at least
Mm-hmm.
to me. Um, but like Carl Anthony Towns, as much as I like him, he doesn't really make sense right now if we're keeping Mitch.
Yeah.
Because with Mitch having the bag, I don't see him going back to being off the bench. Um, DeMar DeRozan, I'd love to have DeMar DeRozan. Like if we can swap out a Randall for a DeRozan, like let's do it. Like I'm cool with that. Vooch, I don't really see that fitting, even though I feel like if we can ditch Hartenstein to get him, I'd be down because what we thought Hartenstein was going to be, which was a big that could stretch the floor and shoot the three, you actually
Mm-hmm.
get that in Vooch. Even though he's soft in the paint when it comes to big guys, so is Hartenstein. So I'd be fine with that switch off. But with all the rumors, I try not to buy into any of them because depending on what space you're in or what Facebook group, we're getting Levine, we're getting
Right.
SGA, we're getting da da da. Jimmy Butler's coming. Like, it's just crazy. So I'm not buying into anything until I see it. Like this morning, I bought into the Aaron Judge thing because it said Aaron Judge signed. Up until that
Yeah.
point, I wasn't losing hope. I wasn't gaining hope that he was going to be with us again.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I saw it and it was a confirmed source, that's when I start to buy in or give my piece on whether I thought it was a good trade or not.
Well, it's a rumor for a reason, right? It's specifically a rumor for a reason because that's all it is. It's a rumor. And when it comes to the Knicks, and I'm gonna bring Tom on right after I say this, right? When it comes to the Knicks, us fans, we have to recognize that this team, we are very mid. We are a
Yeah.
very mediocre team. We are a very mediocre franchise. Now, When it comes to our fan base, that's not our fan base, right? Our fan base, we go 150% for our team when it comes to supporting it. But when it comes to the product that's on the court, we have to recognize that this roster is mid. This front office is mid. This coach, he's below mid. He's all the way in the bottom. He's super mid. When it comes to this owner, James Dolan, JD and the straight shots, that group that he has, that little band that he has, it's mid also. Just like him as an owner, it's mid. And we have to recognize that. But to answer Jonathan's question, he said, why do the Knicks have the worst luck in the draft lottery? I don't think they have moved up since they got the first pick in 1985. Jonathan, you know why? Because they are mid. That's why. But I'm going to bring Tom on to the top. What you were saying, bro?
No, I was just agreeing. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, I feel like even everyone's like, oh, we got picks. We got picks. I'm like, you think we're going to do something with them? That's cute. Like, that's really cute.
Uncle Foxy, what it do? Good morning, Uncle Foxy. Salute, 3 capital S's. But yeah, the last time the Knicks moved up in the lottery, besides Porzingis, it was the Patrick Ewing draft. And, that's what happens when James Dolan's father sells his soul. You get a bunch of mediocrity right after that 85 draft. But I'm bringing in our guy, Tom, Mr. Tom Sanford. Good morning, brother. Hope all is well, baby. Oh, you're muted, bro. You're muted.
There you go.
There you go.
How you guys doing?
Excellent, brother. How are you?
We're on a one-game winning streak. This is pretty good for the Knicks,
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. We riding a high horse. We're on a one-game winning streak. The Yankees are bringing back Aaron Judge. We living good in New York City today, Tom.
Yep. You're talking about game, right? Why the Knicks haven't done well in the draft lottery since '85. I think back in '85, didn't we microwave the ball or something? So it was hot?
No, it was not microwave. It was we froze the envelope. Apparently, the envelope was in the freezer, and that gave them a little bit of hint of which envelope to pick.
Yeah, but now I guess they have accounting firms looking over this and auditing the shit. So there's no possibility of that sort of thing, which is unfortunate. But
yes, yeah. Of course, I just want to shout out
the other day, Tom.
Oh,
pardon?
Yeah.
Were you at the game the other day?
Yeah, I was there. It was an ugly game, but that traveling thing I think worked out for us. Like the more disjointed the game can be, the better we do. So I'm all for this whole traveling enforcement thing. I think there must have been 15 traveling calls in that game.
Well,
record.
Yeah, I think we did hit a record, but at the same time, if Tom's at the games when the Knicks win, we need to start sending Tom to more of these games. Like we gotta get the GoFundMe's out there to fund that.
And I'd say that my record is no better, maybe worse than the Knicks. When I'm there, so I was probably due. But it was against the Cavs. I went to the Cavs last year and they got their asses kicked. But this year, we did it and against a real team, so that was all right.
No, yeah, 100%. But Tom, brother, great to have you on. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday morning. Let's just jump right into it. You just had your gallery. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it because I was under the weather. I didn't want to pass what I had on to anybody else. I was testing positive for that thing. But Tom, let the people know how the gallery went, how everything went.
Oh, so we did I did an art show at a place down the Lower East Side. The show was called All City Stars, and I made paintings of some of my favorite, New York athletes, or basically pro athletes from kind of like my youth, which is basically the late 80s and early 90s kind of time period, or the 80s and 90s. And the reason I did it was that a couple years ago, the people at Ewing Athletics saw a painting I'd made of Patrick Ewing, and they wanted to do a sneaker collaboration, which was kind of the thrill of my life because. If Patrick isn't my favorite Knick ever, he's definitely top 3. And getting to, put my stamp on a Ewing sneakers. I remember in the 80s when those things were hot, I guess late 80s, late 90s. And then they still are. I love the shoes. And I owned a couple pairs even before they got in touch with me. So just the thrill of a lifetime. And so, they're going to release the sneaker. And since they do it all over the internet, it's not kind of they don't do kind of distribution to stores. I thought it'd be cool to have an event, so people would come check out the sneaker. And I'm an artist, so I figured I'd celebrate by making a few paintings of other athletes who, also like Patrick meant a lot to me. So we did a little show and it was pretty successful. And I think that they sold some sneakers and we did a little raffle to benefit the Women in Sports and Events, which is a charity
Awesome.
my friends Jazz and Jen of the Knicks Omni fan like to support. And so we kind of collaborated on a little raffle and I made some custom painted sneakers and I don't know, it was just like a lot of fun.
Nah, that's awesome. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, man. Like when I came across your page, like seeing the art of players like that, and seeing you start posting things of your gallery made me feel like your childhood and my childhood were like, oh, we were neighbors. Like, how did I not know this guy? Because like, even that painting behind you, Don,
like Donnie Baseball.
Like that painting, when I saw it, like my heart was like, yes, like to me, he was my essence of baseball. Like a lot of people who are a little later in their years, Derek Jeter was that for them, but for me, it was Don. If Don was on the field, my eyes needed to watch it. I remember me and Jiggaman just being huge Don fans, and so,
absolutely.
So seeing your art, resemble that. And like, what I love about like New Yorkers and creatives in New York is that they're not just creating, they're creating their own thing, like their own thing, their own style. You either buy into it or you don't. And luckily in New York City, there's enough people that people are going to buy into it. They're going to find their group. But stylistically, I loved the like allegory that you kind of use in your paintings, like the certain things that get accentuated, like that Don Mattingly neck, like that thing is just like so dope. Like I love it, So tell me like how, because we love hearing people's backstory. So what is your backstory on like your Knick fandom and your art? Like where did they both start and then how did they meet?
Well, I've been painting for longer than I've been a Knicks fan, like kind of like since I was a kid. Like my dad always says when asked this question, most kids start drawing when they're like 3 and stop when they're, 7 or 8 or 9 years old. But he calls me Tommy. So he says, Tommy just kept on drawing. But so, I just always drew. And, I went to college and I was studying economics, but I wasn't very interested in that. And so I started to do more and more art classes, and eventually I became an art major and an economics minor. And
nice.
Graduate from college. I went to school here in New York. Even if it's a reputable university, you got an art major, you've got to start being an artist or start flipping burgers. There's 2 choices. Yeah. So I went the artist route, and I've managed to. Haven't had a job in 20 years now, so it's been nice. But I lived in England until I was 12 years old, and I moved back here to New York. And that was late 1987. And I don't think I really started watching the Knicks until 89, I think, or maybe it was the 90 season. It was definitely Stu Jackson was the coach. I remember like Eddie Lee Wilkins. I remember Kiki Vanderway. My favorite was actually initially Gerald Wilkins. But, of course, I love Patrick. Mark Jackson was still on the team then. And they were an exciting team. And then I think that was the season I started watching when Starks had been bagging groceries, but they like, I don't know where the hell they found him. But I remember that first game really specifically, he hit 3 of 4 3-pointers and like, fuck, we finally got a shooting guard here. Well, I guess, we had Gerald. Gerald was good too. Gerald was more of a dunker. And obviously Starks could dunk, but we had sort of the beginnings of a pretty good team there. And then you bring in Xavier McDaniel. He was fucking badass. And then, we lose McDaniel. We get to 94. And you had a real team by then, with Mason, et cetera, et cetera. So I was watching a lot of Knicks. Like I would just when I had to do my homework, I would just take my binder in front of the TV down in my parents' basement, and I just like kind of hide there and watch the Knicks and like try to get a little homework done. And I was playing like rotisserie basketball, with some of my friends from school. And I wasn't very good at it. I always got ripped off in trades. I always ended up with all these like one-dimensional guys. Like I'd lose like. I don't know. I'd have, freaking like Charles Barkley and end up with like Rolando Blackman and Del Curry or something like that. Just like the guys are small points and no nothing else. But I learned, a little bit about basketball doing that. I was never a basketball player, but I just always loved Knicks, and it was an exciting time to be a Knicks fan, all the way to the 90s. It's been a little bit slim since 99, I guess. Well, I guess we had 2012. Anyway, so I kept on drawing and painting. And my normal trajectory with the Knicks is like, I get really excited for the season. I watch the first 15 to 20 games and I get real depressed. But this year, people are complaining about the Knicks, and they're not gonna go. Not gonna win the NBA championship, but they're gonna make the play-in, I think. And like you said, we don't have the talent, and there's a lot of things you can complain about. Well, I'm just rambling on here. You can ask
that's good.
Oh, no, not at all, bro. Because we definitely want to hear your entire story. And you having that experience of growing up overseas and coming back to the States at a young age, and how all that influenced you. It's all a part of it. And when you came back, that was towards the tail end of Don Mattingly's run as a superstar. Because Don Mattingly for a good 4 to 5 years was the best hitter in all of Major League Baseball, right? Yeah. But back injuries is what took that power away from Don Mattingly. It took his career away. But that's the tail end, 88 going into the 90s. When it comes to the Knicks as well, they didn't make the playoffs to 88. That was the first year that Patrick Ewing made the playoffs with the Knicks. So it's a good time around that time. I wasn't born around there, so I can't remember the last time New York City had both a Don Mattingly and a superstar like Patrick Ewing. That's something hopefully we get in the future when it comes to these Knicks. But right now, it's a very tough situation that we are in with this team. But Tom, you talked about it with the Patrick Ewing sneaker, and the collab that came through. What went through your mind? What was the thought process in creating that sneaker?
Well, to tell you the truth, I made some paintings, and I worked with the guys at Ewing, and they had more to do with the design of the sneaker than I did. I was just pretty excited. They put I got the pair of sneakers right here. They put a painting I made of Patrick right on the sneaker box, which I love. And they do everything. All the little details are so nice, they do all this beautiful stuff, like that little basket. Does this one not have the basketball? Oh, normally the little. Oh yeah, they got this little basketball, the 33, hanging off the sneaker. And they did this based on the background of this painting that's right here on the tongue.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. My little Ewing icon, and then I asked them. I said I'd love to have some gold on there, and so they did this nice thing in the back here, the gold buckle. I think of that as for doing Olympic gold with the Dream Team.
Yeah.
So I just love these things. They're quite a statement, but I love the sneaker.
Nah, it's an amazing sneaker. Go ahead, Phil.
One of my favorite things about it is I'm one of those weird guys when it comes to shoes. I could like a shoe, but if the tongue is really, really bland, it can turn me off to the shoe, because I typically like the tongue popping out, being a focal point when you first see the shoe. And so when I saw that the biggest actual Patrick Ewing contribution of that shoe was on the tongue, I was just freaking sold. I was like, yo, this is so dope. The first thing you see is, I would say, probably my top 2 favorite Knick of all time, on the tongue.
So who's your number one?
So, man, I'm a John Starks guy, bro. I absolutely love John Starks. For me, the like you were saying, the whole story, a guy that didn't have really anything to offer, comes in and all of a sudden has this second chance at life, is able to showcase who he is as a basketball player, and winds up being one of the most posterizing Knick moments in NBA history with the dunk, on Grant and Jordan. That hustle, that grind of a player was just for me, made me fall in love with watching games after game after game. I don't think he would have been the player he was without a tag team partner like Ewing. But Starks to me is my favorite. Do I think he's the greatest player of all time? Definitely not. But he was my favorite Knick to watch and support to this day.
Yeah, no, he was a lovable player. I was definitely I love John Starks. My favorite Nick has become or it's hard to say because this is for a very specific reason. My favorite Nick is Larry Johnson, and it's for the 4-point play because I remember that evening so specifically. I was like 1 year out of college. And I was at a bar down on the Lower East Side. It was called the Blarney Cove, I think. I don't think it exists anymore. But I was there with some friends, and we were having drinks, and we were watching the game. And the 4-point play happened. This is before I met my wife. This is back in the last millennium. And there were this is a kind of bar that's never any women there. It's a real dirty, grimy, awful dive bar. There were these really cute British girls. And I end up talking to one. I end up making out with one of the British girls same night that Larry Johnson hits the 4-point play. So it's like Larry Johnson could do no wrong in my mind. And so I got my signed Larry Johnson shirt.
Nice.
Larry,
nice.
Personally. All right. So
nice.
I'm going to do a plug real quick because if that's your favorite thing, there's this company that is one of our sponsors. They're called Playbook Products. And they have these mugs and these coasters that have like legendary New York Knicks basketball plays on them. And so like this coaster that I have right now on my desk is the 4-point play.
Oh, awesome.
It's the exact Larry Johnson 4-point play.
There's Antonio Davis fouling him right there.
Yeah, I was literally just trying to find the same because I have the same one. I'm literally trying to find them, but I put them away a little while ago. But no, when it comes to Knicks, John Starks, phenomenal throughout his career as a Knick. Me personally, I'm a little bit younger. I grew up with Stephon Marbury as my point guard in high school. Like that was my Knicks superstar when I was in high school, was Stephon Marbury. And that's when I fell in love with the game of basketball, right? When I was in high school. And I attribute that to watching Stephon Marbury. He was such a big part of my childhood that I even remember my friends because I grew up in Brooklyn, going to Sheepshead Bay Academy to go watch his cousin Sebastian Telfair play when he was in high school. Right, when he was at Coney, when he was at Lincoln, going to Lincoln High School to see Sebastian Telfair, going to Coney Island just to be in that environment. It was just a time of my life as a high school kid, and we could all point back to certain memories. Of course, you got that memory of you making out with girls because of the 4-point pay. But yeah, no, it's what it is. Hold on one second.
Yeah, man. I love it. Marbury was great, bro. So I actually, I was pissed because I was a huge Marbury fan and I had a Marbury jersey for like ever. And when I was in college, I was in a band and we were on tour and I was wearing my Marbury jersey and it got wet somewhere or whatever. And you're in a friggin' van, it's not like you can just throw it in the dryer. So I have it hanging out the window as we're driving. We stop, we go get food, and it's like stuck in between the window, like we're out driving. I came back to the van and my Marbury jersey was gone. Like someone straight shimmy and jimmied it out of our window in the van and pieced out with my Marbury jersey. I was livid, bro. I was like, and at the time, you're going city to city. You're making just the money that you got, from that show. You're not just like, oh, let me just go to Lids right quick and drop another 150, and get a new. So I was just like broken that whole tour. The band was like, yo, stop complaining about your jersey. It's gone, bro. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. No, but let's shift a little bit of gears because they do have a game tonight and they have been playing this season, right? It's been an up and down season. We're under 500 right now at the moment, but like Tom said right when he came on, we are on a 1-game winning streak, which is good if you're a Knicks fan, being on a 1-game winning streak. So Tom, I'm gonna throw the ball into your court. You can start the conversation. What's your thoughts on the Knicks so far this season? What's going wrong? What's going right with the team, and what's wrong with the team, in your opinion?
Well, Hector, I'm going to preface this by saying I've never played organized basketball in my life. I was a high school wrestler. I played some, basketball in the playground as a kid, and I like preferred playing basketball than wrestling.
You never played in the JCC pickup leagues. You never played in those.
No. I was all hustle and no skill, And so, anything that I know about basketball, I pick up from listening to guys like you on podcasts, like Bill Simmons, like CP the franchise, stuff like that.
Oh,
so
big
I don't
time.
have any real original thoughts. Like I watch the games, but I can tell when it looks like a guy's scoring points and is playing hard, but I don't have any insights that are going to be a revelation, except for I got one hot take for you. We always whenever we play Atlanta, we're always like Trae Young, fuck Trae Young. Trae Young's losing his hair. Let's stop talking about Trae Young's hair. Let's talk about Tibbs's hair. The man needs a wig. Like that's my hot take. Like, I don't know about Tibbs' coaching, but he's got to do something about that hair. Now with the Knicks this season, like, you're talking about how they're mid, they're not great. And that's evident. Like they've got some players that have some talent, but it's, you think about like when the Knicks went to the finals in 94, we said they weren't a talented team for a finals team, but we had Patrick Ewing, who was like the second best player at his position in the league, maybe the best, but called Hakeem the best at the time. But now you look at our best player, Jalen Brunson. I love Jalen Brunson. He's been a great surprise this season for me. Like I didn't have high expectations, but he's the one position on the team where I don't think we have any problems right now. And he may be a top 10 point guard in the league. You know what I mean? Like they're doing okay considering the fact that we just like don't have the players, I remember when I would play fantasy basketball, you'd always want to get those guys that were kind of like mediocre players on bad teams because they could get real good stats. Like Charles Smith was awesome on the Clippers if you're playing rotisserie basketball because he was like a 20-10 guy, get some blocks too. Comes to Knicks, he's not quite that. But the point is, like, Julius, he gets stats, but we're not happy with him because we're not going to go anywhere with him. Like we need to upgrade in like every position pretty much. And that's no great insight from me. But what disappoints me is that you don't seem to get the defensive effort that we were getting in a couple of the earlier Tibbs seasons, and maybe that's the problem with Tibbs. Like they've gotten sick of him, they're not going to hustle for him. But, on the whole, we're a youngish team. They should be at least playing defense,
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. It's especially when you have a coach that is supposed to be known for defense and for being a defensive coach. But I just want to point something out. It is confirmed that Tom Thibodeau will be a good coach with a wig. It's been confirmed. Hot take from our guy Tom. And, as somebody who is impaired when it comes to growing hair follicles himself, I can say Tom needs a hat or something on his head. And, when it comes to Tom Thibodeau, it is what it is. He's an old dog in his mid-60s that I don't think in this NBA in 2022, this is the type of NBA for him to be a coach in, right? Back in the days when he was a coach with the Bulls and when he was thriving as a defensive guru, it was a different NBA, right? It wasn't that many three-point shots being taken. Nowadays, it's a spread offense. Everyone is shooting on the court, and Tom Thibodeau is not used to that, right? I agree. The first two seasons with Tom Thibodeau, when it comes to what Tom brought up a little while ago, I agree. Those first two seasons, you got defensive effort, right? Especially in season one, when we were like top 3 defensive team in the league. Last year, we were still a top 10 defensive team, but we took a step down from the year prior. And this year, it's totally different, right? Defense is non-existing when it comes to the squad that we have. And if you're a defensive head coach, that falls on you. It literally falls on you if you're supposed to be a defensive head coach and your teams aren't out there implementing your schemes, right? The team isn't out there. It kind of looks like the team doesn't listen to Tom Thibodeau for half of the game. You could hear him on the sidelines screaming for somebody to make a cut, screaming for somebody to pick up a man, and nobody does that, right? So I feel right now when it comes to this Knicks team, Tom Thibodeau has lost this locker room. He has lost these players. And it's time for a new look. We need Johnny Bryant, someone in there that's a younger coach, someone in there that has a different voice that the players are going to listen to. Because to me, Tom Thibodeau's days in New York City, it's over. It should have been over after last season. And there's no way that we could look at this team, right? Let's take a step back, and I'll ask you this question, Phil, and I'll throw it over to Tom as well. Tom brought up Julius Randle, right? Phil, is Julius Randle top 30? Is he a top 30 player in the league?
I don't think so, no.
Cool. What about top 60?
I would say he would be top 60, yeah.
So he falls into that top 60 range. Is that going to bring us to the playoffs or to the championship? No, not at all, in my opinion. No. When you look at RJ Barrett, is RJ Barrett top 30 in the team, top 30 player in this league?
He's not top 200.
Is he top? Exactly. So when it comes to RJ Barrett, that's not even going to work. When you look at Tom Thibodeau, can you see Tom Thibodeau, Phil, getting another coaching job after this debacle in New York City with the Knicks?
After this, he's done. Like, he retires.
So
he's done.
We got 3 points right there. We got a coach that probably won't get another job in the league, after he leaves us. We got 2 guys that aren't even in the top 30 in the NBA that we're building our team around. That right there shows how mediocre we are and the position we're in. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, Jalen's definitely the best player on our team, and he isn't top 30 in the NBA. And you can't go to the finals unless you have at least one guy in the top 5. Like, doesn't happen. So
here's my thing is, so we talk about, we don't have stars, we don't have this, but we have talent. But the problem is talent without direction means absolutely nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. If we have good pieces that have no structure, no direction, no way to work together. Like, I look at the old 90s Knicks, and I was watching a video the other day on some of the greatest plays of Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason would not have been considered top 30, top 60, in his time. However, he created the the point forward kind of position. The way that boy dribbled, the way that boy hustled, spin moves, this, that, and whatever. And he fit well with the pieces around him. Like, he fit well with Charles Oakley. Like, they balanced each other really well. They had that support from Ewing. Like, the whole team meshed well because it was kind of structured to do that. And so you got players that might, around other players, make a contending team, but we have no direction, structure, or organization. So we're just kind of a cluster right now of talent that has no clue what to do with it. And so I wish we would go back to the way that we ran things in the 90s, where it was like, we don't need every single player to be the greatest player in that position on our team, as long as they work well with the best player on our team.
And I'm just going to respond just by saying it's very easy to do that when you have Patrick Ewing, who was a top 10 player in the league on his own.
Yeah.
So, that's a great comparison, or, a great breakdown when you talk about Anthony Mason, because you nailed it right on the head. The difference is that when you compare Anthony Mason to this team right now, Anthony Mason back in the 90s wasn't expected to be the number 1 or the number 2 option on our team. On this team, Julius Randle is expected to be the number 1 and the number 2 option, right? RJ Barrett was expected this season to make that leap into the fringe all-star range. That was the expectations going into the season, and both expectations have fallen flat on their face. I just want to answer Chris Joseph, my man Chris Joseph, who's always coming through with the chats. He's like, who is responsible for the energy and effort on the court, the leader or the coach? I said it falls both onto Tom Thibodeau and to Julius Randle. Right, Julius Randle is supposed to be our leader out there on the court, right? But if your leader does not respect the coach, and it seems like he doesn't respect Tom Thibodeau, and Tom Thibodeau has lost that locker room, it falls both on the players and it falls on the coach, right? Because yes, that's your coach, but at the same time, your coach is supposed to be the leader among men.
Fair enough.
Mic drop. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, no, I agree. Here's the thing is, if we're allowing the team to listen to Randle, who more times than not, when he puts the game or like situations in his hand on how he wants to do it, we see what that leads to, you know? So that's where coaching staff needs to go. This is an issue. Like, this
Hmm.
is an issue that he is being listened to over us because what he's telling them to do is not good, you know? So, like, that's like my youngest son um, is amazing, but you'll have his older brother at times who will be like, dad told him not to do something, and I'll look over and his older brother is whispering, do that thing. And then my youngest will do it again, even though I said not to. And he smiles because big brother told him to do it, you know? And so Julius Randle is like that big brother that's doing things that shouldn't be done. And hopefully the coach is saying, no, don't. But at that point with my child, I have to then go, hey, little one, you're in trouble for listening to big one. And big one, go take a seat because you're not doing what I told you to do. But Tibbs does not do that with Randall. He never disciplines Randall. And that's where I think our issue on the floor comes, is that there's no one that's actually taking that lead role to make sure that it's not a cluster when we get on the court.
Hmm.
Well, I think
Agree.
that Brunson takes like responsibility for the team. You know, when you hear him talk after the games, you know, he doesn't sort of say the kind of bullshit that Randall does. Like he sort of points to himself when he feels like he hasn't performed right, and he makes like honest and insightful critiques of what the Knicks are doing. You know, I think that Brunson has to be the leader of this team, and you watch them playing, and he's not the flashiest player in the NBA by any means, but he's effective, you know, and I think
Hmm.
that's like the old time Knicks. I don't know if the Knicks can go back to being, you know, you're talking about Thibodeau plays an antiquated kind of basketball. The Knicks of the 90s probably would be like fish out of water in this game too. But yeah, like I like the Brunson's kind of ability to have to be conscientious, you know.
And Brunson has been a solid pickup, right? I can't expect nothing more out of what we're getting out of Jalen Brunson, right? And Jalen Brunson, as our point guard, has been the first point guard in 20 plus years that's been competent, right? And has been a leader as well. To me, Jalen Brunson is probably the best move that this front office has made in a very long time. And but at the same time, you can't expect Jalen Brunson to come in and be your savior, because he's not that type of player. He's not that superstar type of player. He's not a Luka, right? He's not a LeBron James. He's not that type of player, but he understands the type of player he is, and he knows what his role is, right? He goes out there. He's like a green collar, a blue collar kind of guy. Goes out there. He knows what his job is. He gets up. He doesn't stay away. Listen, he had a game where he had the opponent, was it Alex Lynn, fall on his legs. We all thought that he was going to be out for a while. He battled through injury, right? So Jalen Brunson, he's a perfect gamer. Is he a number one option on a championship team? No. But is he a piece to build around? Absolutely. And I think that's what we have to do. And I know a lot of the fan base, they're split on Julius Randle and they're split on RJ Barrett. I understand that. But when you're looking at this team and you understand that we have to try to rebuild or hit a bit of a reset button, the only contract that we can move out of those two is Julius Randle. We can't move RJ Barrett's contract until next year. So if you guys want to wait till next offseason to have the conversation of who you want to trade, RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, cool, you can do that. But just know that you're signing yourself up for misery for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man. I love Jalen Brunson. Like, love him. You know, as soon as there was talks about him, I was like, we need him. Like, so
Hold
many
on,
people were haters.
Chris Joseph said our centers still play like it's the 90s. That's why they're constantly on the bench in foul trouble. Absolutely, Chris. I'm gonna just leave that comment right there. Go
We
ahead,
need
Phil.
Chris on the show. He's got the insight.
Oh yeah, definitely. Chris, whenever you're ready to come up for the open panels, bro, you know you can. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, you know, so here's the thing about where we're at once again with the direction thing is
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brunson gets most of his buckets in ISO situations. That's what he does. Like, he's not a off the ball post up at the line, at the 3-point line kind of, player. Like he is an ISO player, which is great if our other two main scorers weren't also fully ISO players. So you look at the few games where we've actually like come out and we're like getting bucket after bucket in the first quarter, and you're like, holy crap, our team's actually moving around. Grimes is actually like off the ball. This person's off the ball. And then it always happens. We come back in the third, and all of a sudden it's all right, ISO time. Like it feels like one of those like weird video games where like it's like supercharge mode, but it's like ISO time, and everyone comes out and they're in ISO mode, and the defense just goes, oh, all we have to do is double team whoever's got the ball. They're going to go score. So that ruins it for Brunson, who is good at that, because they don't have to guard anybody else. They're like, oh, Brunson's got the ball, he's going to shoot. RG's got the ball, he's going to shoot. Julius got the ball, he's going to shoot. As opposed to being like, as much as we want to double team Brunson, we know all the other guys are moving on the ball. Like they're looking for the pass off. That would open it up. But you can't have 3 ISO players be your 1, 2, and 3 and think that you're going to succeed. Like, it's just crazy.
Jiggaman, what is good, baby? You're muted, brother.
Amateur hour. What up, fellas?
Chilling, baby.
Look,
chilling, baby.
I had a crazy busy morning, but I had to come on while Tom was here. What up, Tom? How are you, man?
How you doing, Jiggaman?
Good, dude. So I had you guys in my ear while I was producing the other show, and I had to make sure I was able to jump in on the Jalen conversation. All right, because obviously,
So you care about, right?
Yeah,
Very
look,
selfish.
I'm a Jalen fan. All right, my problem is sort of kind of some of the stuff that Tom said was accurate. Right, he's good when he's in the press conferences and all that, but then he totally throws me off when he sits there and he goes, we must hold ourselves accountable because Tibbs is a good coach. I am Ron Burgundy. that right there, that loses credibility with me, right? And then you got to sit there and wonder, like, what does that do to the clubhouse, right? What does that do to the locker room? When the guys are sitting there and be like, if we really look at it, like he's got the family ties, he's reading scripted stuff, giving credibility to Tibbs. Like, are you just that perfect middleman? Is that going to draw the team away from him being a leader? So, the jury of him being the guy that can lead, for me, the jury's still out on that, guys. That's just that's my take on it, because for me, it's the questions and concerns that it causes me. Right?
No, I agree with you, bro. And when you bring up that post game conference when he was reading off of the paper, it brought me back to high school, right? It brought me back to like the 10th grade or 11th grade when we had to read Catcher in the Rye in English class, and someone had to read it out during class, and they had a hard time getting through a couple sentences. That's what Jalen Brunson reminded me.
Today, Junior, you got them busting out that Adam Sandler real quick on them when you're reading.
Yeah. But no, bro, I agree with you 100%. When it comes to Jalen Brunson, fantastic pickup, right? We could agree that he's a fantastic pickup, just like what Tom said. Great leader, but at the same time, we got to understand it's nepotism, right? It's the relationships that were already put in place, right? Leon Rose, CAA, being his godfather, having his father getting a job on the coaching staff is all nepotism. And that's what the Knicks have been over these past 20 years. It's been just a bunch of yes men that James Dolan has hired, right? And if not no yes men, it's Donnie Walsh who's in a wheelchair trying to convince LeBron James to sign with the Knicks. And it's just been an utter carousel of mediocrity ever since Patrick Ewing was traded from this team.
Yeah. Speaking of Patrick Ewing, I got to change it here. I know you guys already talked with Tom and everything about the sneaker, all right, and how dope that thing is. Like, look at it. I mean, that joint's fire. That is some sexy shit right there. Oh my God.
Anthony MSG was wearing them.
I know he had it rock. I had to like it on the Insta. I was like, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna bring that swear jar out, bro. You keep on swearing. I'll bring up that swear jar, bro.
I didn't. I said shh. All right. Listen, after how much money you guys made me put in over the last 2 weeks, I'm learning. Okay. You know it's bad when you walk around the house and I cursed and I somehow put $1 in a jar. Everybody looked at me weird. I was like, long story. It's a Knicks Brew thing. But I said it earlier and I'm going to say it while Tom's here. It's not going to be just in the chat. I want this screenshotted when we go back and we clip this. Where is it? Where is it? Right here, Tom. Mark my words. Within a year from today, I will have a custom Tom Sanford piece on my wall. This Madison Square Garden will be replaced by a Tom Sanford piece.
I look forward to it.
It's happening. All right, that's it. Now I can be held accountable. We can screenshot it, and Tom can be like, "Dude, it's a legal binding contract. You said that shit on screen." There's $1.
Another dollar. Well, as long as it's not
put all
like
that money in the jar towards the payment.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but then Phil and Hector are gonna have a piece each. So I have one piece of the painting, they'll have the other pieces. That's not gonna work for me.
As long as you change from your scary background that was that abyss that you had back there that was always scaring me constantly in every stream. DiCaprio, what is good, baby? You see Aaron Judge is back, dog.
He can't help himself. That Yankee just bleeds through.
I can't.
So, Tom, we are going to be, I think it's either January or February. We're going to be coming out. We'll be out in town. We got to get with Tom, get you to go out to a game with us, man. Mm-hmm. Have a good time. What's next for you? What do you got going on right now, Tom?
I've got a show in Taiwan in April, so I really got to get moving on that. I don't just paint sports guys. Like I kind of basically paint New York. So I do like a lot of paintings of people who are important culturally in New York. Like scenes from New York. Like, you know, I've done like paintings of my local bars up here in Harlem, just my neighbors and stuff. But like, you know, a big part of living in New York is the sports culture, and I feel like it's kind of often the glue that holds together. For me, at least, when the Knicks are above 500, my life is like 15% better. You know,
I think all of us.
I didn't think any NCAA train isn't so bad if the Knicks won last night. You know, so that's So the next bunch of paintings will be kind of like maybe more like the painting you can see back there with my rowing machine in front of it, you know, like sort of paintings in New York and stuff like that for these people in Taiwan, and that's what I'm up to. Anything
coming up soon in New York City again, or in the States?
You know, the thing about making art is it takes a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, so I got to make.
I get it. I got
to make a whole bunch of paintings for this thing, and so I'm basically gonna be concentrating on that. Like, I think I'm gonna have some paintings in an art fair over in like Denmark, but I don't think you guys are gonna get there in January. But yeah, like I just basically got to sort of work as much as I can between, you know, keeping my children fed and getting to school for the next few months to get ready for Denmark. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, bro. Congratulations.
You recently designed that poster for that like Nico movie, right?
New York Nico's movie. I'm Out of Order. I did that. That was a lot of fun. You know, of course, I'd known about Nico for a while, following him on Instagram, and, you know, like I'm a huge fan of Cooge and Lukey Lunchbox and Little Mo and all those guys. And so when Nico asked me to do that, it was a huge thrill, you know, and then I liked the movie too, so it was cool.
That's awesome, man.
And for those that don't know, you could just YouTube Out of Order New York. It's a Vice piece that was done. So if you can, make sure you guys go watch it and support Nico.
Yeah, it's on Vice right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I got the link on my Instagram anywhere, but yeah, like if you're following Nico, which I'm sure all of your guys all follow Nico, I'm sure he's posting that like every other day. It's only like about 20 minutes long, so you know, you can watch it while you're on the toilet.
Yeah, no, I've seen this pop up a few days ago on my Vice feed, but I haven't gotten to it. But I'm glad that you're connected to it. I'll make sure that I watch it right after this. Actually,
hey, did we address the fact? Can we Are those shoes still available to be purchased?
Yeah, no, I think it was a limited edition of about 600 pairs, I think, but I assume that there's still a few left. If you go to Ewing Athletics website, obviously you guys know how to use Google, you can find it pretty easily. So and they've got all sorts of great sneakers there. Like, as I said, like even before I got approached by them, I had several pairs. I had a great like multicolored pair, that kind of reminded me of sort of Native Tongues hip hop from the 90s, like all sort of suede and multicolored. It looks a pretty cool pair of shoes. And I also had a blue and orange pair, which are like the pair I bought several years ago in hopes of wearing them for Knicks wins. And that was one of the seasons we did not do very well. So they didn't end up being that lucky. But oftentimes I make a painting of the Nick. Like I made like a big Marbury altarpiece of him in Coney Island back when he got moved to the Knicks, and I did it to like pray for Knicks wins, and that didn't work either. I also remember Stefan when he was in high school. I was vaguely aware of Lincoln, and then the whole Spike Lee movie too. Is obviously sort of a little bit about Stefan, not exactly, but like that's my favorite Spike Lee movie, and so excited for Stefan to come home, and then it didn't really work out, but I still love the guy. He's a fighter.
Yeah,
awesome. Guys, I mean, I need to have a pair of those sneakers. I will have a timepiece on my wall.
Sure
Same.
And I mean,
Same.
let's be real. If we could find a way to Taiwan, we'd be there in a second. But that's not happening. All right.
Either Taiwan or the Fliegenhagen, Denmark. If we could get to Fliegenhagen land, we could probably catch Tom, but I'm not sure.
Listen, in New York. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something with the next few months. I'll let you know.
Yeah, because I would love
so bummed. I do. It's always acrylic paint. And it's either on canvas or wood, kind of depends. Like wood, I kind of like the look of wood a little bit better, but canvas is a lot more convenient because it's easier to ship and it's lighter. But yeah, acrylic paint.
Would I be super narcissistic if I wanted my piece to be like different versions of me? Here's my new painting of me.
Kind of, maybe.
Listen, but what if one's in a Knicks jersey, one's in a Judge jersey? I know my brother's making fun of me right now, and luckily he's muted.
No, Phil and I were texting each other right now as we make fun of you, with the both of us.
For real. Like, he's painting all these legends, and you're like, how about me?
Yeah, exactly.
It's my wall.
Self-censored ego. I'm sorry.
All right, you know what? Let's jump back into a little bit of Knicks talk while I'm here with you guys. Did we touch on the Cam situation and what our thoughts are there? I mean, I know I went on a rant about it the other day, which seemed perfectly timed, right? And with everything that's going on. But what's kind of your thoughts? I'll start with you, Hector. With the whole new rotation, Cam not being on it, Rose not on it, what are we thinking?
It's Tom Thibodeau madness at its finest. When you look at the rotations, especially recently, one thing I'm happy about, Deuce McBride is getting burned as he deserves, right? That's one thing that I'm happy about. The you and done painting with Jig and stuff. Of course, you will highlight that. But no, seeing McBride get some burn, that's something that I've always wanted to see. But still, Obi Toppin only getting 12 to 13 minutes a game. Cam Reddish not touching the floor. Derrick Rose, DMPs. Jericho Sims, DMPs. So there's a trade that will be on the horizon surrounding Derrick Rose and Cam Reddish. What gets me upset is that you hear it from Derrick Rose, right? That Tom Thibodeau told him that, we're just going to give the young guys some time, let them get burned for a couple of games or whatever. That's what we hear from D Rose. But then when Tom Thibodeau is asked the same exact question, he comes out and he says, Derrick is, we have to rest him because he's a veteran, he's injured and stuff. So what is it? Are you telling D Rose one thing and telling us another thing? Or are you telling us one thing and telling D Rose something totally different? It's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, it's every player is doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom's like, I am not reading off a pad. I'm going to say whatever lie I want. And that's what it feels like. Tom, are you on the Cam train, or are you part of that Cam hive that everybody talks about? What are your thoughts with Cam?
I don't have any great insights. Like, I like Cam, especially like him when he's playing defense, and he looks pretty nice when he rolls the hoop. So I as I said earlier, I got no basketball expertise, so I'll leave the coaching to Tibbs and the.
Hey, you know what?
You guys,
you nailed it. You used keywords: defense, Cam, fire, Tibbs. Phil, what did you think with the Cam situation? All right, I hired the fire. All right.
So here's my thing, man. Is I just feel bad for Cam, because you ask a player to do certain things and he busts his butt to do it, and yet it's still not enough. Like when someone goes after the carrot that you put out in front of them, and they do everything that they have to do to get there, and then they still don't receive what you told them they would, like, that's just horrible to me. Like, that's poor coaching. To me, that's going to lose your trust in your players. Like, I don't think anyone on that bench can say Cam Reddish did not do everything that coach asked him to do. And they see that. Like, how do you respect a man whose words mean absolutely nothing, So doesn't matter what happens. I do not see Cam getting the minutes he deserves. I do see him wind up getting moved, or if he doesn't get moved because of us, I think would be foolish to sign with us again, an extension, especially if Tibbs is still the coach. Like, I would never see that actually happening. So I feel like we have lost out on a good player that could really help our team. You guys know I'm a huge RJ fan, but based off of efficiency and productivity, like in those few games, he has showed that he deserves even maybe some of RJ's minutes in that time, So I think it's disappointing, and I feel bad for him, and I hope that he finds a team that I can actually give him what he deserves. Apparently there's talks of the Lakers being interested again. They were interested when he was on the Hawks. And I could see that being a better fit for him, because they, besides LeBron and Davis, they have a bunch of younger guys who could be, off the bench, and Cam could get those minutes. So we'll see.
Well, what gets me mad, guys, is the fact that social media, some of the fan base wants to sit there and somehow give credibility to Tibbs on this situation. Like, oh, look, Tibbs is learning. Tibbs is going to give us the young guys like we've been asking for. Hold on a second. Like, how in your right mind can you give him any credit on what's going on? He is being forced into this situation. Okay. And I don't even think it's being forced because he's in fear of losing his job, right? Because let's be real. That man doesn't look like he's in fear of his job.
No.
He never does. Okay. If you're in fear in your job, you're not going to sit there and get technicals. You're going to sit there and try to be on the up and up. You're going to sit there and, mind your P's and Q's, and you're going to say things in the camera the right way. Tibbs makes it very clear. He feels very safe with his position.
You don't care.
But for anybody to give him credit to act like this rotation is changing because he's learning something is crazy. And then to be able to sit there and give credit like it's a positive that Cam's not in the rotation. You go to a 9-man and you're going to tell me he doesn't get any of those minutes? I mean, Chris Joseph in the chat, we drafted 2 big men in the last 3 years. Instead of playing them, we signed Hart for 20 minutes a game, averaging 6 points and 6 rebounds.
Who looks soft as baby food.
Can Cam Reddish play alongside RJ Barrett in the starting lineup? Why not?
I don't know why not.
Can Cam come off as a 6-man? Why not? But they're telling me he's completely left off? Woo! Listen, the best thing about covering the Knicks, guys, is we chose a team that will make sure we can do content for the rest of our lives. Okay?
I'm not sure that's a good thing or bad thing.
No, it's a good thing, because us here, us 4, plus our faithfuls in the chat, we all come together to celebrate and mostly complain about the crap that is this season. I'm not excited to go in and watch the Hawks game tonight. I mean, neither
am I. And Chris Joseph said it. The Knicks are a reality show right now. The Knicks are the pilot episode of the Jersey Shore. That's what the New York Knicks are.
Hold
They
on
are
a
the
second. 'Cause
pilot
Jersey
episode
Shore
of the
was
Jersey
the joint.
Shore.
All right. Nah,
Yeah.
listen, Paulie D, mad love, bro. All right.
Now it makes sense why you want a picture of yourself, because those are your peoples.
Exactly.
Those are your peoples.
All right.
Paulie
Now
D
we're really
would have
gonna.
Paulie D
He
would have
has
a
a-
picture of himself.
He has a GTO. He has a GTO logo tatted on his arm. That's what it is. You're gonna see that next.
Oh, I like the idea. You know what, Tom? Write that down. GTL on the painting. All right. We're gonna.
Nah, but let's get into these predictions before we dip out for tonight's game. I know we touched on it last Monday. I mean, this Monday that just passed. But Knicks versus Hawks. I don't want us to get blown out. That's basically what it is. I know the Hawks are a little bit of turmoil right now with Trae Young and the head coach. So hopefully that's a good sign for us, and we could step up that winning streak to 2 games in a row instead of 1, right, Tom? So hopefully we don't get blown out tonight. Hopefully no random G Leaguer comes up and torches us for 30 plus points tonight. And we just see some competitive basketball out there. I don't want to see us get blown out. I don't want to see us be in that third quarter of doom where we just give up 40 to 50 points and we look horrible. That's what I want to avoid. Please, basketball gods out there, make sure we don't get blown out.
I like it. Phil, what are you thinking?
Here's the thing is, yeah, there's turmoil there. I also know that Trae Young tends to have this thing against New York that he always wants to prove, himself, and he had a pretty rough game the other night. They lost to OKC because of his poor game. He was 31% field goal percentage, and for Mr. 3-pointer being 14.3% from the 3-point line that game. I'm hoping we see those kind of Trae Young numbers, because we lucked out the last time we played them because Trae wasn't doing well against us the last game, and DeJounte Murray just destroyed us. So to have DeJounte Murray come with that kind of impact again when Trae actually is playing well against us, I think that'll be a huge problem, and I don't want to see that kind of blowout. So I'm hoping we don't allow DeJounte Murray to completely humiliate us again like he did last time, because he had a point to prove last time and he proved it. I don't like those two together. So if we could walk away with a W, that would make me happy, not because I think it's going to be a sign that our team is now there, but just because I can't stand those two together at all.
Yeah. Agreed.
What do you think, Tom? We getting a Knicks win tonight?
I go to every game thinking we're going to win, so I think we're going to get a win.
That's what I'm talking about, Tom. You got to keep hope alive.
That's that positive artist mentality, right? Everything
exactly
is seen through a different lens. Unlike my unhappy Puerto Rican self who sits here and says, I don't expect anything. All right. But the thing is, I want to see if maybe some of the glimpses of defense that we saw in that last game that seemed decent at times, right? Protecting perimeter stuff. I'm hoping some of that carries over.
More of those
that's what I'm focused on. What'd you say, Tom?
More traveling calls. Keep the game.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is.
That whole repping core back with us as well, man. All right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for making time to hang out with us, man. Love everything you do. Those in the chat, go check out our boy Tom. His website, tomsanford.com. You can follow him right there. I know I don't even. Is it Uber Kunst?
I've had this screen name since AOL in the mid to late 90s. It basically means high art, and from German, it's a loose translation from German. Back then, when you picked an email address, everyone tried to disguise their name. So I just kept it, and so that's what it is. It's Uberkunst. Uber, you guys know from the car company, and Kunst means art in German.
Oh, hold on a second, Tom. Before we let you go. Have you tried to see if you can get any royalties off of Uber? I mean, technically you have
you had it
first. Awesome. Guys, check out Tom's stuff. Follow Tom on Instagram. Check out his art. If they're still available, go grab those Ewing kicks. You want them. Ewing Athletics. Go check it out. Tom, we'll see you soon, and we'll hook up with you when we're in New York, hopefully.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We'll go see a game. I'll take you to a bar up here in Harlem or something like that.
Perfect,
Nice.
man. We'll make it happen. See you, Tom.
Bye.
Later, Tom.
You guys
That's
think I'm kidding? It's
that's
gonna
our
happen.
guy Tom Sanford. I need to get a pair of those sneakers. I need some of that art on the wall. I need something.
Right. Real quick, for those of you in the chat, I mean, we've mentioned it before, but we're doing our giveaway next week's episode. We've got our on the 14th, that Wednesday, I believe it is, with Julito.
Wednesday.
We're gonna play the new album. We're gonna get a first glimpse of it, hear all the tracks, talk Knicks, of course. But you're gonna be able to win a hoodie and a shirt. All the information is on our Twitter and our Instagram. Let's take a quick 30-second commercial break. Check it out.
What it do, Nick Nation? What it do? KOD Universe, stand up, and all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee.
I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks.
Woo! Come on now. So guys,
you know what I'm happy about? And I'll let you go right now. What I'm happy about is that in that end of it, right, when you saw me and you had the Aaron Judge in the back, I'm just happy that we don't have to edit that out, right? That we don't have to edit that clip and find another clip because Aaron Judge is back. He's back home. All right, that's it. That's all I want to say. That's all I want to say. That's it.
Let's go.
That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Guys, appreciate everybody tapping in with us. We've got a lot of big announcements coming down the pipe. A lot planned for 2023, like our boy Pete Heminetti likes to say. Before we go, we got to give a shout out to our boy Jay Boog, man. Like, I wanted to play that track. I know we got the video, I think, back here, so we can play that for you. So to end the show, we're going to drop that Jay Boogie on him.
And we be back. That's if this plays.
Don't do it to us again.
There we go.
On. Enjoy the video. We'll see y'all on Friday. Peace.
Right here, Jay Boogie presenting Knicks in the booth is gonna be fire.
They say we everywhere. We all over the place. If you don't see us, that means you ain't nowhere. You heard? We all over. The headline of the city, the Post paper, the Daily paper, everywhere in the city. Nick Chronicles, baby. Let's get it. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. It's game time, tell them, yeah, we outside. You know my voice, the young Mr. Wall Clyde. They say this year we blessed this, a new hope. I'm courtside next to Tracy Morgan Road. We so official, every game is sold out. You see the fan stars, them carpets rolled out. I'm on this track, NBA and a bleach report. Don't even ask for a short, this ain't a Newport. Flash report, tell them this is just in. You see Max outside, just don't let them in. I walk the streets every day with some grown men. I go left, cross back like I'm Brunson. Who that is? Jay Boogie, I'm so nice. I need a little bit more than yesterday's price. When you see him, you tell him, your boy, I'm locked in. I'm well surrounded with fans, we in the garden. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. If you ain't orange or blue, then you can't relate. I had them toxic boys that ate your Twitter space. A lot of people right now, they on clickbait. I had your forehead looking
feeling like you're Stephen A. All the real creators be on the podcast. Take a look at the chat, you get my broadcast. The forecast is scattered with a lot of rain. My 4 poison pill jerk by Danny Ainge. New squad, new season, it's a new team. Shout out to Harlem Girl and Miss Geraldine. Play the youth, the kids, they gon' play hard. For 4 years, I just signed a 9 guard. The way we look right now, this a Nick thing. I might bring with the flow, so this here bang. Shout out the real ones that'll stay loyal. All the Nets fans, we know it's disloyal. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal